You're on, Michael.
We're on, Dan.
Oh,
I mean, Dell.
Dell, we're on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's call this finance and legislation meeting to order. Mr. Burnside?
Here.
Mr. Ballack? Here. Mr. Bigley is present. We have two pieces of legislation. Let's get on with the first one. This is from the auditor, and this is an ordinance for the appropriation for current expenditures and other expenditures of the city of Struthers, state of Ohio, covering temporary period during the first quarter of 2025, effective January 1st, 2025, up to a maximum of 90 days, and repealing any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring an emergency. Motion to bring it out.
Motion to bring it up.
Second? Second. Okay. Next one. Next one, an ordinance authorizing the Mayor and Safety Service Director to enter into a contract with KO Consultants LLC for grant services calendar year 2025 and declaring an emergency. Bob, do you wanna go over this at all?
This is pretty much a continuation of the contract we've had for the past 2 years with KO for our grant writing services.
There is an increase, or there is not an increase?
Didn't we increase it last year?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
increased, it went from 38 to 42.
40, yeah.
So it increased.
That's what it did last year?
I don't know, no, I'm saying it increased this year from 38 to 42.
I thought
Okay.
it was right around 40 something, this year, so there might be a slight increase.
What is anybody's pleasure?
What's,
There's a $4,000 increase.
does that, justify what they brought in?
I believe it is. I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars coming in.
Do you wanna see what they've brought in and make an appropriation, or do you wanna move forward with this?
I wouldn't mind seeing some
Yeah,
stuff
I'd like
down.
to see what they brought in, you know.
Mr. Ballard?
Sure, yeah, let's do that.
Then we'll table this for a week. I don't assume that's
That's fine.
anything
Well,
pressing.
that could always be
Yeah,
passed the first of the year
It seems to me that
retroactive.
they've
Yeah.
done a wonderful
Yeah.
job for
Yeah.
us.
I would agree. I would
you know,
agree.
But
yeah.
it certainly wouldn't hurt to take a
Yeah,
look.
I mean, honestly, and I think when we look at those figures, I think it's gonna be like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
But we haven't seen anything for a
No,
while.
so let's
Yeah.
look over it.
And that's the only reason.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, okay.
I'm good with that. I
And
mean,
we
and
did
that,
this, what, a year ago?
yeah. And that's just doing
And,
our due
you know,
diligence on it.
If it's gonna go up every year, like $4,000 every year, I
Yeah.
mean, that's something then we gotta start
Hey,
looking
listen,
into.
as long as you're
Yeah.
bringing in
Right, if they can cover
10
that,
times
that's
that
fine.
every year,
I know we
Yeah.
then
we got the
we're
grant
happy to
again
do
this year
so.
for $250,000.
Yeah, so-
Yeah,
Plus a
yeah.
bunch of little
Yeah.
ones.
Again,
BWC
Yeah, I don't have a
grants.
I don't,
But I just wanna see
I
what-
more or less, I probably don't see an issue, with the 4,000. Let's make sure that they're
Yeah.
bringing that in,
Right,
and
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they are,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Okay,
But it's nice to see it on paper.
yeah, absolutely, and display it to the public,
Sure.
so. Okay, so that's gonna stay there.
So what do we want from them? Just a report? A yearly report?
Yeah, I think that's
mean,
good.
Sure. Okay, what else we got for finance and legislation tonight?
I had Dynegy paper, that's something from Mr. Bella she gave to, us to look over to see if there's any changes that you guys might have this, cause this is gonna be sent to all the residents of of Struthers.
Now, this
so,
is only if you pop out of it, if you want out of it, or?
you know, I didn't even read it.
Yes, you can opt out.
Yeah.
You're automatically gonna be in it no
You're
matter what,
automatically,
if you're in it
you're
now.
already
Right.
in it now.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
I think they're gonna sign every resident up because it's our city aggregate, and then if you don't wanna be signed up, you wanna go to somebody else, then you opt out, I believe.
So
Yeah.
this is gonna be sent out to everybody.
It will be sent
Well,
out to
that's
every
good.
Now,
resident.
that'd be the first time we've done it that
That's
way.
not gonna be
Did it?
received
Yeah,
well.
that's not gonna be received well at all.
I
I think if you wanna be in it, you call,
In the past where
you know.
those offers.
Some
Yeah.
people aren't on it
Yeah.
by choice, but if they're gonna be automatically thrown in there and then they have to go through this, they're not gonna be happy about it.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I thought that's the
Well, it
way
does say
the
the payment
aggregate
for
worked,
the
and that's why we got the price that we.
Yeah,
And is there other options for, other than Dynegy for our,
For our residents?
yes,
You can go on to the Ohio Public Utilities
Yeah.
Commission's website, they got a website called Apples to Apples. You put in residential electricity, and it will give you the price and rates for all the companies that will offer it to you.
Oh, terms, yeah.
now did they, I mean,
Some of them-
have they compared any of them? I mean, have you compared any of the
I've
rates
looked at it,
that you've
I've
seen
looked
for
at
these?
apples to apples compared to this, and anything that you get close to this rate, a lot of times there'll be a monthly fee. or something where we don't have that monthly fee. So I think it's a very good rate.
But the rate wasn't based on the whole city being on it though, right? Because the whole city isn't on it.
Because the
No,
whole
I
city's
don't
not
think
on
so.
Okay.
I mean, we get phone calls every week.
I mean, you just mentioned that's because that's why we got that rate, but if it,
Right.
you know, I don't
But
think it was based on having the whole
I'll
city.
tell you that City Hall gets a lot of phone calls.
Yeah.
Wanting to know the number to get onto our
Yeah.
aggregate, because the price,
Oh, I tell people all the time they
Yeah.
should get on it, I mean, there's no question about it.
But this, I don't remember this either before, like everybody being on it and having to call to get off
That's
of
the
it.
first time that's happened.
Yeah. But, maybe you can clarify it with Tom.
Alright,
Okay. What else we got for finance and legislation? Bob, you got anything tonight? To go over?
I did get a phone call today from Marucci and Gaffney. They wanna start early on the bridge, so we're probably looking at closing Wetmore down on the 13th of January.
And what is the time frame that they're projecting it'll be closed for?
It's I wanna say 150 days, but
4 to 5 months, 5 months, okay.
Is there gonna be any, you know, I went down it on the way here, and it was really dark down there. I mean, it's really dark. I know there's a couple lights, but they're really dim. I mean,
There's two that are out.
yeah, oh, is there?
There's two
Okay.
that are out, and there's one coming down like across from, Rudzik sits real deep.
Yeah, I think it should be lit up more, because it's an S, you know,
Yeah.
and it's hard to see oncoming
well,
traffic
if
sometimes.
you lose a light down there, you're right.
Yeah,
dark.
it's really dark.
Yeah, there's two, Bob, that are not lit, and there's a third one that's very dim. One by Rudzik's very dim.
Okay.
What would be the process for adding some?
Would there be any on the bridge itself?
No.
No, okay.
To add lights down there, it all depends, because there's whether you have to install a pole or not. So, if there's a cost to the city to add a light, you know, we have to pay for the installation.
How about
and the
changing
work
over
order.
those lights to LEDs?
Well, there's benefits and drawbacks to LEDs. They're brighter, but for elderly people,
There's nobody.
they cause a lot more glare.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, so that's the biggest drawback with LED, and that's why you don't see a lot of people switching
That's us, Bob.
streetlights over to LED.
Yeah, well, I mean, they put them on the freeway, and I
Yes.
mean, it really
It brightens it,
up.
it's a lot brighter,
Yeah.
but it does create a lot more glare.
But it is covering a larger space on the freeway.
Bob, I'll tell you another thing that would really help, if they they're due to do a tree trimming program down there. I think that causes a lot of,
It does,
Well, they did cut a lot out of there.
yeah, and I think Mill Creek did away with their tree trimming,
oh, they did.
where they cut back on it, so that overgrowth may be a problem down there.
Can we get a hold of Troy Rhodes and see what Ohio Edison's program is about trimming? I know as long as there's a power line down there,
Yeah, you're right.
so can we, I think between the trimming and fix the lights that are out
So
down
I
there.
think
would-
I know they're done trimming for the season, so it's not gonna be trimmed until when they start getting in the
So-
spring.
So, if Mill Creek is cutting back on their tree trimming, do we regain the right to do it if we need to have it done?
So when you start getting up around electrical wires and everything else.
That's Ohio Edison, though, they take care of that.
Yeah.
Right, so we don't wanna get in anywhere close to electrical lines or,
No,
Better
but
height.
you know, just the corridor
try-
down on Wetmore
yeah, we
is a
try to
great
cap our
example.
tree trimming off at about 16 feet.
Yeah,
You know,
well, that's
We don't
fine.
need to go much higher than that, that's high enough for anything that's traveling on the streets, 16 feet. Our street lights and our traffic lights are all set at 16 feet, so any vehicle that's traveling on the street, 16 feet is high enough, and we try not to go much higher than that.
No, I think that's fair, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
And we have done trimming down there.
No, remember you said we weren't really allowed to do that down
They
there.
frown on it, but we have to keep our roads open.
Well, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, they may frown on that, but we also frown on our roads
I'm not
being
doing it,
damaged
yeah.
or our roads
Right.
being overshadowed.
But when you
know
start
what I
getting up
mean?
around street light level, that's Ohio Edison, and they contract out to a company that comes in every year. Every year that I can remember, they've come into town and done tree trimming. And some of their tree trimming is ugly, but it's just to open up their electrical lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, if you're gonna call Ohio Edison, my street light's out. on, right by my driveway.
So we're in public right now and we're live, so I'm gonna tell everybody this. Street light, anybody can report a street light out. If you go on Ohio Edison's website and you click at the top, I don't know if you pay your bill by Ohio Edison's website or not. If you do, you just sign in, and at the top it says outage. And you click on outage, it will say street light out. And then you just go through, you put in the address or whatever information you have.
Well,
You
the
have
poles
phone
have
number?
lines or
If you have a
numbers
phone
on them.
number,
Numbers,
that
yeah.
helps.
That's
But if
probably
you don't,
the
and you just have an address, they can go off of that.
Sure.
So anybody, any citizen can report a street light out.
Okay,
Okay,
that's good to know.
Good to know.
I mean, you can also call City
Yeah.
Hall, we're happy to do it for you,
Yeah.
but
But that is a good bit of information for
Yeah.
everyone.
yeah.
Anybody else? Mike, got something good down there?
Not really.
Okay. Laura?
No, I don't think so.
I'm good.
Pleasure seeing you guys tonight.
Yeah.
Call for adjournment. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.